The queens of world-class chess are putting on a show at the Cairns Cup in St. Louis. 2024 winner Zhongyi faced off against last year's champ Carissa, emerging victorious to join a three-way tie for first. Day 2 of world-class chess coming up next.
Hello chess fans and welcome to Day 2 of the Cairns Cup. Day 1 delivered 3 decisive games. There was plenty of action, plenty of drama and no shortage of big moments. Now we're ready for more fireworks, so let's head to the studio and start the action.
Hello everyone and welcome to the second day of the Cairns Cup. I'm Paikidze and I'm here with my wonderful co-commentator Almira Skripchenko. Almira, we had a great start yesterday.
Hello Nazi. Dear chess friends, bonjour de Saint-Louis. Yes, French heritage is everywhere in the city of chess and there was no slow start at the Cairns Cup. It started with fireworks, 3 wins, and what French would call la ronde d'observation didn't happen. Nazi, how can we match up today?
I hope we do, but it was absolutely a fantastic start yesterday. So tell us about the standings after round 1.
So let's have a look at the standings, and you can find Zhongyi, Divya, Deshmukh, and Alice Lee at the top of the standings. They won their games yesterday, and they are our leaders. Bibisara, Assaubayeva, Muzychuk, Humpy, Koneru, Stavroula, Tsolakidou are following. They're very close in the pack, so half a point for their draws. At the bottom of the standings, we can find Alexandra, Kosteniuk, the former world champion, Vaishali, Rameshbabu, the world championship challenger, and the winner of the last Cairns Cup, Carissa.
What a roster of players on the bottom, right? But they're all looking for a win today. And Almira, tell us about the format of this event.
Well, the format of this event is a classic 10-player round robin. Players get 90 minutes for the first 40 moves, classical chess, 30 minutes for the rest of the game, and of course there is a 30-second increment from move 1. There are no draw offers. You get 1 point for a win, half a point for a draw, and 0 if you lose a game.
And remind us about the schedule.
Okay, the schedule. We started the tournament yesterday. All games start at 12 p.m. The free day will happen after the 5th round, and then the tournament will resume, and the last round will take place on the 19th of August. However, if the tournament is still tight, we will have no winner, then the playoffs will be necessary, and it will be organized on the 20th of August.
We've had exciting playoffs before. We'll see if it happens again this year. And Almira, you highlighted that we have 3 co-leaders. 3 players won their games yesterday. So let's look at their profiles. We'll start with Divya Deshmukh. She defeated a very strong player, Vaishali, with the black pieces yesterday. She's only 20 years old, FIDE rating 2490. And last year, she won the Women's World Cup, which is a huge accomplishment. And she got a GM title from that.
Of course, and yesterday she defeated Vaishali Rameshbabu, the World Championship challenger, and it was an all-Indian derby. A lot was at stake.
Absolutely, a very important win for her. And next we have the former women's world champion, Zhongyi from China. She's one of the most experienced players at this event. She's 35 years of age. Her FIDE rating is 2520, and she's one of the very few women who can say that they've won the crown.
Not only she won the crown, but even recently she played a match for the World Championship title against Zhu Wenjun. She lost it, but she's a very, very stable performer on the circuit.
Very consistently performing on high level. And last but not least, we have the American young superstar Alice Lee, who started the tournament with a win against Alexandra Kosteniuk. She's only 16 years of age. Her FIDE rating's 2430. Recently won the Women's Speed Chess Championship, which was extremely tough, full of the best players in the world. And in this tournament, she's hunting for a GM norm.
Yes, and as far as I know, she defeated a few world champions during the World Women's Speed Chess Championships. So I would call her the World Championship Slayer.
Great nickname. Almira, tell us about the pairings for today.
A lot of exciting games ahead of us, but today our marquee matchup will be Divya Deshmukh against Alice Lee. The leaders are facing each other in the second round. Then Zhongyi will take on Humpy Koneru with the white pieces. Stavroula Tsolakidou is making her debut in this event, so she will have the white pieces against Muzychuk. Our top seed, Bibisara Assaubayeva, is playing with the white pieces against Vaishali Rameshbabu, and Carissa will try to score her first win against Alexandra Kosteniuk, another former world champion. Nazi, I thought that even if 10 Magnus Carlsens are going to play an event, one of them is going to be last.
Someone has to be last, right? And Almira, tell us about the prize fund in this event.
Well, this tournament features a very impressive prize fund, $250,000 in total, and the winner will get $60,000 for the first place. The second place will be awarded $50,000, and the third place, if you're in the podium, you will get $40,000, and there is a winner bonus of $5,000. Carissa won $65,000 last year. Impressive conditions. What greater incentive can you have to create, to fight for a win in every game?
Absolutely fantastic conditions for women's chess, and thank you to St. Louis Chess Club for providing and creating such a fantastic event. We can see players are arriving in the playing hall. I see Alexandra Kosteniuk already at her table.
Nazi, her husband is standing there, Grandmaster Pavel Trigubov. I think that he's her second during this event. We know that Bibisara's second is Javohir Sendarov.
They both just arrived at the playing hall.
Or maybe Bibisara is Javohir's second.
They help each other out, yes.
We also know that Vaishali Rameshbabu helped Prague during the Sinquefield Rapid and Blitz.
Absolutely, she was a good help for Prague, he said in the interviews. And here we have Bibisara. She's a fighter. She's very young. She started with a draw yesterday, not a bad result, of course, with the black pieces against Muzychuk. But she is an aggressive player. She likes to win.
She likes to. Well, who doesn't like to win, Nazir?
Some players will say they're solid, they don't mind. Like if you have a choice, win and lose or 2 draws. She's a player who would choose win and lose.
Oh, yes, I agree. From that perspective, it's very interesting because I come from the classical approach where like 2 draws are very important. That it's not a round or observation, but Muzychuk is on your screen, of course.
And maybe Muzychuk would agree with you.
Yes, Anna would agree with me because it's very important not to collapse from the psychological point of view. It's like, because the specifics of chess makes it that even after a loss, you have to come back and play together.
And these younger players, I feel like they recover faster from a loss. That's why they're always playing for a win and taking more risks. And we see Divya also getting ready for her game against Alice. Yesterday in the interview, I asked her if she has faced Alice before, and she said yes, but a long time ago. So in my head, I was thinking, was Alice a child when you played her?
Actually, Nazi, you know me. I've checked their games. There is one classical game in the database, and they've played in 2023 in the FIDE Grand Swiss.
So 3 years ago, Alice was only 13 years old.
And I was surprised that Alice was participating in the strongest open Swiss event already at that age, of course.
And what was the result between them, if you remember?
Yes, I can check.
That's okay. That's okay. We will check at some point. Yes. But Divya has the white pieces. She started with a win with black. I also mentioned that in the interview, how does it feel to win with the black? And she said, it doesn't make a difference what color I play.
Well,
great attitude, right?
Yes, great attitude, and she's very well prepared. I've been commentating the World Cup when she won it, and she surprised her opponents, commentators, and I think and the whole world with the depth of her preparation. And maybe we should explain to the audience that players just can't get to the playing hall easily. Yes, they are getting scanned, checked, the fair play officers are in the premises, so you have a very secure environment.
Absolutely, which is necessary measures now in high-level events. So that's why players are arriving early. It takes time to stand in line and get wanted and get settled.
The chief
I
arbiter
think Carissa
is on
hasn't
your
arrived.
screen.
Maybe that's who they're waiting for. As you already know, she's last to arrive at her board.
I think, yes, Carissa is there.
Oh, she is?
Yes. Maybe we will have the traditional bell ringing today.
We'll see if
Carissa
anyone
is there.
And I ran into Carissa at the hotel yesterday, hotel lobby, and she was just trying to forget about her game because it was just one big blunder that costed her that half point. And then we have a handshake. Games are off. We're going to start with our marquee matchup between Divya Deshmukh and Alice Lee. Of course, we're going to eventually go around the horn and check all the games. But let's see what opening we have in Divya's game. And not surprising, Alice is a Petrov player. We'll see if in this game she also goes knight f6. Nope, knight c6. She has played this before as well, I know from experience as I was preparing against her a couple of times.
But will she go for Berlin? No, she's going for bishop c5. This variation has become very popular recently. So I thought maybe knight f6. And then Divya would be facing a choice, instead of bishop c5, she would be facing a choice of playing a Berlin endgame. And Divya actually is a very versatile player herself. She starts with d4, knight f3, e4, so maybe e4 was already a surprise for Alice.
Could be the case, but I don't remember Alice playing the Berlin, so this is definitely a prep. You can see Divya is surprised by this. Almira, what's the most common way to continue here for white?
Well,
just castles.
yes, you can castle, of course, and the idea behind bishop c5 is to develop the knight on e7. So it's instead of knight on f6, knight g7. But you could also be more aggressive and start with c3 here.
Aiming for d4 and asking the bishop question.
Yes. So I think those should be two main lines. Nadia, I don't know if you have the database and you can check what are the main lines, but for me c3 or castle are the main lines.
I see that castle and c3 are the most common moves, and we'll see what Divya chooses, but I just want to take a look. If white goes c3, does black still play knight e7? Because I'm worried about d4.
You know, there is a crazy line which was tried in many rapid and blitz games. I don't even want to mention it because yesterday I came up with an idea of a book for kids, the games you shouldn't show to kids, you know? Those horrible blunders, those tales of desperation.
Early in the openings, right?
Early in the openings. So you could play f5 here.
Wow.
But I wouldn't.
Wonder if Alice prepared this line.
But I wouldn't advise, you know, this line in a classical game. However, it was tried, and I'm pretty sure. You see, you have a lot of games.
Yeah,
now.
there's hundreds of games, but I'm assuming they're mostly blitz games.
Yes, so that's what I told you, because the element of surprise is very important. And when you have only 3 minutes and you don't remember your lines, what happens? You're completely terrorized after this move.
Of course, Alice doesn't choose f5, and she just played knight f6, the main line. And I'm just going to show that if white goes d4, black's plan is to trade. White can play e5 and in-between move. Knight e4, and just castles. So it's kind of a temporary gambit, we can say.
Yes, but it looks similar to a few positions that can arise from Gioco Piano with bishop c4, and then black will need to play d5. And I think that the difference in this line is that at some point white will take on c6 and is aiming for this structure. So let's say after ed4, let's say if you try e5.
Yes, I have this on the board.
Yes, knight e4, and then let's say castle. And then, yes, you already put it on there. So d5 is very important, of course, to support the knight on e4. And then
we have this position live.
Oh, we have this live, so it's probably I am guessing correctly. But then
we can see on our screens that after e5, there's 120 games in the database. But both seem to be familiar with it.
And then I think that the most important things here after knight e4, let's go through this once again.
Did Alice play knight?
Did-
No, she played
No.
knight d5.
Wow, because I was not even familiar with this move.
Because usually it's the pawn that goes to d5.
Exactly. Wow, what a surprise.
See what her idea is. So I'm expecting c takes d4 or castles. Both seem playable. But let's look at the most obvious move, c takes d4. Do you play bishop b4 check?
Yeah, I think you are almost forced to play bishop b4 check here because this tempo is of a crucial importance because let's say bishop b6 is played in many other lines, but then knight c3 is coming with the tempo, and then how are you fighting for the center? So,
But we're not guessing their moves. Divya just castled. Bishop e7, yes. Alice is still in her preparation because these are not natural moves you make at the board.
but then I guess that after c takes d4, she needs to play d6 immediately to challenge the center. Because if you play knight c3, maybe the idea is to take on e5. Let's
Take
try.
on e5. Probably will take with the knight. Okay, again. They are playing fast, but not the top line moves that we're considering. a4. What's the idea behind a4? I'm struggling to figure it out.
Yes, I have to. Well, if you're trying to establish the analogy, because a4 is played on a6, bishop c4, and to stabilize the bishop on c4, so, or a4, let's say, in the variations, then a black cannot play b5. But
Right.
here, the situation is completely different. So I have to understand a4.
And we do have d6 also on the board. They still seem to be in their preparation.
What I don't understand, Nazi, because very often, like, we are trying to have a human outlook, yes, on this position, but I managed to see, even with my glasses on, that there is one suggestion by computer on a4 is a5. This is what I don't understand at all. I just wanted to show you this.
Yeah, this looks like a nonsensical move.
Exactly. So please don't trust your computers all the time. I think the deeper understanding of the position, of course, comes from fundamental principles, but then maybe this move is explained like 10 moves
10
later.
moves later, yes.
Of course. So it's like, for me, d6 is a very natural move. So
I'm just curious, after knight d4, how is black going to deal with the knight on c6? The most logical move is bishop d7, right? But then I was thinking after e takes d, and you take with the bishop, maybe I can make you lose castle? Or at least lose a tempo. After the check, you'll have to cover either with the bishop or with the knight. But this seems like black is not developing correctly.
I have a feeling of a deja vu. Like, I didn't have time to check the Sinquefield Cup games from yesterday. But okay, let's.
Do you think we had a game like
I
this?
think we had a game, maybe Fabi against Jordan, because we were like working alongside, and so we didn't have time. But I will check. Like, during the break, I will check it.
Maybe queen d7 is Alice's plan, but this is also such a strange looking move to put the queen on d7 and block your own bishop. I'm so tempted to go e6. I know it achieves nothing, but it's tempting.
But maybe in a position where every tempo matters, especially where white is so ahead in the development, you have to make a very concrete move. So e6, then they can breathe, I think, after e6. So
Yeah,
you
of course. I
take,
was
then
just
what else?
making a good looking move. I don't know if it actually is playable. Maybe it is
Maybe.
actually, because
I want to play e5.
right, e5. And now, do I have any tactics on your hanging knight on d5?
It's like, I think if you are not being fast in this position, then black can hold. But I agree with you that it looks very dangerous.
Yeah, maybe just queen f3. I'm still not letting you castle, and if I get my queen here, you may never be able to castle.
So if I take on d4, you will simply take on d5, and the
Exactly.
game continues.
Yeah, you're still up a pawn, up 2 pawns actually. No, one, just one. And you can't develop this easily. You can't castle long, so depends on the player. For me, white looks better here.
Of course, white is almost winning, I would say. The thing is, like, you can even play bishop c4 because the bishop in e7 is not moving. So I would suggest that one of the most useful moves for black here is to play king d8. You have to run for your life.
Yeah, but if you have to do this so early in the game, it means you did something wrong in the opening, right?
I agree, of course.
So we'll see how this game continues. Almira, what else has caught your eye?
I think let's have a look at the game between Zhongyi and Humpy Koneru. Just let's have a look at the opening because this game is going to develop very slowly. So it's not that Zhongyi has a cautious approach. But as you can see, the position looked very symmetrical at the beginning, and Humpy Koneru decided, yes, to break this symmetry. She played c5, challenged the center. I just wanted to say that here, let's say knight bd7 was played castle, yes. Then at some point, black would have to take on d4. Yes, because at some point, and but very often black waits until the bishop is developed on b2. So I just wanted to point a few nuances here. So let's get back to the positions. Like it looks like a very quiet opening. Humpy can play bishop d6, then bishop b2, and then maybe consider taking here. But then, you know what is the problem now? Is the knight is on d7.
It should be on c6.
Yes, it should be on c6. And I think that white almost always has a very slight advantage here, like knight e5, knight bd2, knight f3.
Yeah, a little bit of a space advantage and maybe better developed pieces. And yes, you're absolutely right about the knight being misplaced. Sometimes I've seen players waste a tempo, go back just to improve the knight.
Of course, and you need this knight sometimes to challenge the bishop on d3, which is looking on h7, of course. And this is, to understand this position, it's very important to grasp that white will always have the e5 square. And black has to fight for the e4 square. And that's almost it, you know. White can challenge the center and play c4 and to have the hanging pawns, but I think that to have a more positional approach here, just knight d2, knight e5, even f4, knight f3, or rook f3, rook h3.
Exactly, start the attack on the king side. It's easier play for white.
Yes.
Nothing major, of course, but would prefer white. How is Stavroula's opening against Anna Muzychuk?
Actually, Nazi, yes, let's have a look at the opening, but I wanted to draw your attention to the game between Carissa and Alexandra, because when you have the move g4 on the board, yes, we have to pay our attention.
We will jump there, but we'll start it with Stavroula. Let's see. So it was the king's Indian defense, but again with g3. We saw this yesterday by Humpy Koneru, and it was against Stavroula. So now she's on the white side of the same opening. We have a very symmetrical position after c4, c6. Knight c3 and d takes c4. This reminds me of, this actually transposed to the Catalan line that I love to play, e4, b5, and queen e2. I believe they're still in theory, 77 games, probably a couple of them are mine. And oftentimes I don't end up getting the pawn back, but I manage to use my compensation in the center and get some kingside play as well.
Anna is a very principled player and she's very well prepared. So she went for this line, taking on c4, defending the pawn. So I guess that here, can she play a5?
a5, definitely one of the main moves. I just want to show why not b4. Yes, we're weakening the pawn on c4, but I'm making you move your knight again. And I've looked at knight a4 mostly, but I know that knight d1 is also playable. And I believe Anna has played b4. It's on the board.
Yes, I know that the idea behind this move is to play bishop a6, but somehow to include a5 and then to play bishop a6 maybe also...
would be even better.
Yes, could be interesting, of course.
But what looks right to you, Almira? Knight d1 or knight a4?
I'm not sure. Then what do you do after bishop a6? let's find out what is the difference because I don't play.
Well, if I
this
play knight
position.
a4 and you play
Bishop a6.
bishop a6, I will meet that with knight c5.
and then bishop b5. Yes, I want to stabilize my bishop.
And then probably rook d1, the typical Catalan move. You can see Stavroula is in deep think, even though she has gained time so far on her clock. She was in prep, but maybe this b4 move was a bit of a surprise.
Then why can we include a5? So let's say rook d1, knight d7. I want to get rid of your knight.
Which knight?
Knight bd7.
Maybe it's time for a pawn push, like e5.
Yes.
Let's try it.
So knight, rook d1, knight d7. Yes, I think it's important maybe to play knight d5 here and then.
Are you not afraid of e6 at all?
I am afraid. I was born afraid, I think. I was like, but then e6, I thought I will take on c5, and then who knows what will happen.
Well, none of this will happen because after b4, Stavroula chose knight d1. Her plan is to put the knight on e3 at some point. So if, for example, now bishop a6, you don't have time for knight e3, c3 is an immediate threat, so you'll have to start with either queen c2 or rook e1.
But queen c2 is also necessary because you need to protect the pawn on e4. Yes, you can't even play knight e3 because knight e4 is losing another pawn. So I like this move, queen c2.
Maybe we continue development with black, knight d7, you play knight e3. And maybe e6. I've seen e6 a lot in similar positions.
But then knight c4.
I can take on e4, I believe. So I'm still remaining up a pawn. However, I'm not very happy with this a6 pawn. If I can get in c5 without losing anything on this diagonal, I'll be very happy.
Somehow I feel that white would always have a sufficient compensation here, even here. Like
That's just Catalan, right?
Yeah, exactly. So like you're looking for a long-term compensation and maybe rook e1, rook d1. I don't know what black is supposed to do here.
Yeah, black is playing for c5, but white can play bishop e3, knight e5 is coming. Yeah, very double-edged positions.
But maybe maybe c5 then.
Now?
No, let's try. Let's rewind to knight e4, knight c4, like
c5 here.
Yes, c5 there. So maybe you can do it with the pawn on e4. Yes. So if you're not taking the pawn, bishop g5 is a wonderful.
Might
move.
be a little bit uncomfortable. You'll have to play h6 because I'm threatening e5. Maybe I'll take. If you
and
take,
then you can. No, I thought because then you can take maybe on c5. Yeah.
You're taking with the queen?
Yes, but queen f6, it's e5.
Yeah, this is...
And it's like the Moscow variation, yes,
Exactly.
and then you can bring your knight to e4. Okay, so knight d2, knight e4.
All right, we will let the players figure this out. And which game did you want to go to?
Yes, I absolutely wanted to have a look at the game between Carissa and Alexandra because Carissa played g4. Because Alexandra is also a Petrov player.
Yes.
And she lost yesterday. She has a second black game in a row. So, of course, it's important to equalize in the opening. And she knows Petrov very well. By the way, Nazi, a small digression here. Just come back.
Yes.
Have you seen that recently? And I was completely amazed here. After knight e5, one of the main moves is knight e4 has become.
Yes, I
you know,
have seen that.
When
recently.
we were kids, you know,
It was
this
considered a terrible
of
move.
course, and that was the move that you should never do. Like, however, knight e4 has been revived by computers. There is a very long forced line which leads to maybe slightly worse endgame, but like
It's
you
playable.
can hold. Yes, you can hold it. However, Alexandra doesn't want to play only for two results. I think that her approach is a bit different. She wants to equalize, and when given a chance, yes, to play for a win.
Sounds like her. So let's catch up with the players. Are you a Petrov player?
No, I'm not, but I played this line what Carissa tried today with white.
Okay.
Yes, so Alexandra decided not to play d5, but d6, first of all. So bishop g4, and actually that's why I wanted to put this move into the spotlight, because h3 and g4 is one of the main ideas here. If it works even better when the pawn is on d5, then you jump knight d5, of course. But
So if black's pawn was here, it would be even better.
Yes, but then let's have a look. So it's a modern approach.
Yes, and do you think white can afford to go even farther and play g5?
I think in some position you can do this. Of course, it can backfire if black will be able to open the position, but it almost never happens. Yes, so it's because, first of all, you don't have enough squares.
I had one idea, because if black could just play knight h5, then he could say, what has white done? Completely weaken the king side. But I thought that maybe knight is kind of trapped
You're
here.
absolutely right, because then you can win a piece, because even here, let's say you just make a move, like any move, knight d7, then you simply move your knight, and white is completely winning. And that is actually the opening trap.
That is?
Yes, that is one of the opening traps.
So, of course, knight would go somewhere back, maybe e8 or d7. And yes, we overextended too much maybe on the king side. So this is too much commitment.
I'm not sure, once again, because let's have a look. You push g4, g5, but at the same time, the problem of the Petrov, if when you play d6 and not d5, is once again your bishop not on g6 now, but your bishop on e7. Look at your pieces. They don't have too many squares. The knight on d7 is restricted. The knight will go on c6, then what? The bishop has his only perspective, like potential, is after rook e8, bishop f8. Yes, so I think white is gaining a lot of space. Yes, taking risks. However, I think it's justified, like positionally justified.
So it's actually playable. Carissa chose to play rook e1. Knight c6, a3, good prophylaxis move, of course, to not allow knight b4. But what about this last
peculiar
move, a6? What is Alexandra preparing b5, or is it a prophylaxis move?
It's a prophylaxis move, because you
For
want
the knight?
It's not knight b4, actually. You know that you want black to take on d3, and black wants white to take on g6. So you don't want black to force you. You know, it's like you want to trade those bishops on your terms.
On your terms,
yes. And so a3 is a very important move here, because you don't have many useful moves here, and you don't know yet where you will put your bishop on c1. So the natural square would be bishop f4, just to play. But first you need to secure your bishop on d3. So if black takes on d3, queen d3 comes, and then you double your rooks on the e file.
a3 I totally understand. a6 not so much. But maybe you're right, there's not too many useful moves for black?
I think so, because let's say you don't want to put... Let's say you will make a useful move and you will play queen d7 just to illustrate the pawn. Yes, because very often white want to play d5 and you don't have this knight b4 as well. So after d5, where would you go?
Yeah, I would have to probably go back, and I'm not happy about that. So that's why a6, in case you need to move the knight to a7. And Carissa played the most logical move, bishop f4. Does black at some point still go d5, or since you're committed to d6, you just stay with the pawn on d6?
Let's see, because if using the analogy with the positions on d5, with d5, black's plan is to play bishop d6 and to trade the dark square bishops, and then you have more space. So let's say bishop d6, queen d6. Here, maybe you will have to play it. Let's say if you make a more natural move, rook e8, but then once again I'm thinking, what happens after d5? You will have to play...
played a6, so might as well go knight a7.
But maybe knight b8, knight d7 back, you know, and...
That makes more sense, but I just want to justify the move a6. But you're right. Well, what is knight doing here? Am I going to go to b6? Could be an idea. Put some pressure on d5. I don't fully believe in it, though.
But then I will take... you know, the thing is, why I want you to take on d3? There is another idea, because then queen d3, knight d4, knight f5. That's the square I want to have. So It's a waiting game, yes?
It is a waiting game.
Carissa knows that, she wants to put the knight on f5 in some position, so she needs to force Alexandra to take on d3. Usually it happens when black doesn't have another useful move. Then because you have to make a concession. You cannot play h6 here. Then I will take on d6, and then I will play knight d4. And the square on e6 is this wonderful square.
It's a very delicate opening. So far we like white's position. Let's check the only game we haven't looked at yet. That's Bibisara against Vaishali. Today is more of the e4 day. I see we had another e4, e5 opening and Giocopiano.
But Giocopiano with knight f6 and knight g5. Another interesting line where black, of course, is forced to play d5.
Actually, I think I saw Javo here playing this in Rapid and Blitz.
Yes. But very often you choose this line when you know precisely that black and Vaishali would go for a specific like maybe variation. So d5. By the way, Nazi, here, just a second, I wanted to check your knowledge. d5, so e takes d5. Do you know that black can play b5 here?
No, I did not know that.
And you know that one of the best moves here is bishop f1, just in case. So, like...
What chess openings have come to?
Yes. So
this is such an engine.
They need to take on d5, and then you can take on... It's like something crazy, yes. Or if queen d5, then knight c3 comes with the tempo, and you cannot take on g2.
That's amazing.
Yes. So that's why everyone is playing knight a5 and bishop b5. But here, first, c6 is the main move, of course. Yes. So Vaishali decided to play bishop d7 line.
And pretty fast, as I can see, she's only spent 30 seconds on her clock, so she was expecting this line from Bibisara.
And maybe Bibisara is also targeting Vaishali's preparation. So once again, what is the drawback of this line is the knight on a5.
Yes.
Because when you're playing c6, of course, you're sacrificing the pawn for the initiative, but all your pieces come into play. You can play bishop c5, then knight d5, f5, but here it's a completely different position. The character of the position is very quiet as well. So Vaishali wants to take on d5 and then to bring the knight to c6.
And my first question is, why can't black take here on d5 right now?
Let's check if I can take on e5. No, after h, because I thought that h6 happened at the game.
In my position.
In your position. Here I have no idea. Maybe d4 immediately? What do you do?
d4, yes. And if I castle...
Then I can play c4. What are you doing with your pieces? Yes.
You're starting your active play very fast. Because I was thinking I'm more developed and I will actually have an attack on your king. But after c4, I'm starting to rethink that.
And actually,
this is good.
I was considering after d4, maybe not even castle, but something different. You need to protect the pawn. But my queen will always attack at some point both knights, like maybe queen d2, d takes c5. You have to...
Yeah, I'm not happy with the knights, and I don't want to make a move like f6.
You have to be careful.
I'm scared of making a move like f6. So maybe that's why Vaishali did not take the pawn on d5. Instead, she played h6, kicked the knight back, and just castled.
But my question was actually in their position, knight d5 here. I think knight e5 was possible, yes?
Or still d4 is
or
playable.
Even d4.
Come in with another tempo, d takes e5, and c4, like you mentioned, looks very good for white.
Of course, then castle seems natural, because knight e5, then maybe you will pin me. What will you do after knight e5?
I see Vaishali chose to trade, but it's interesting. Could she have played queen e7? D4, right? So we're not really scared of the pin, although f6 is a threat.
No, but that's where queen d2 comes in handy, yes?
With the tempo?
Yes, with the tempo.
And you still don't have, you have knight c6, but it's not ideal because you don't want to double your pawns. And I will still probably go c4, and it's just a long-term advantage. Black's pawn structure is not the best.
So I think that... then this move rook f8, now like taking on e5, we're still in the preparation.
There's no games in my database, so somewhere recently maybe there was a novelty.
But the thing is, the more I look at these positions, like like Josef Dorfman says, one of the most famous coaches in the world, I need to think. So the more I look at this position, the more I start to like this modern approach. Okay, we can see Black sacrificed the central pawn, the D pawn. However, look at the pieces. The only developed piece is the queen. And the rest of the pieces are on the first rank. This, in a way, gives us such an aesthetical pleasure.
Yes, and in olden times, this would be considered lost for white. What are you doing with the queen in the center with no development at all? But now ancients say white is still slightly preferable. What do you think of this idea to fianchetto and set this good bishop and queen diagonal?
Actually, I was already surprised that you were telling me that the engine thinks that this position is better for white, because I was thinking I will take on d5, play rook e6, rook e8, rook g6. How are you going to defend this?
So you have to take with the queen, right?
Yes, queen d5.
So you're coming after my king? Rook e6?
Not yet, but maybe can I start with knight e4 first?
Yes, that's a bit unpleasant for me.
Yes, and now, okay.
But once I finish development, I'm going to like white's position.
Maybe knight e4 was premature.
I still have an extra pawn also.
Yeah. But maybe knight c6 first.
Okay, let's improve this knight.
Let's
Bishop
centralize
b2.
my pieces. Okay, I understand a bit more now. So rook d8. Because
Now
you
the
will
problem
be
is-
forced to play d3, or your knight has to go to a3 maybe, yes?
I don't want to give you the pawn, so I'll probably go d3.
But d3 maybe I can even invade, yes, the second
yes,
rank.
I'm not
rook
happy with
e2.
this. Let's take a look at knight a3.
Knight e3, but then I can... then we can transpose to this endgame where you can take and take on f6. But I think black is absolutely fine.
Yeah, black is fine
here,
with the
yes.
rook on the second rank. You cannot be worse.
I think that even after bishop f6, black can get better.
Yeah. No, my knight is misplaced. You have the active rooks. Even with this doubled pawns, black is completely fine in this endgame. So
I've learned something new, and actually I like the way Vaishali approaches this position, and especially I think that she trains a lot now that the match is coming up. Yes, we don't know yet.
Her main focus is on the upcoming match.
Maybe she's not revealing all of her opening
openings, yeah.
preparations, but it's also important to test the waters. So I think that this is a very, very sound pawn sacrifice. So, but can you try something else? Let's say queen g3. That's what I wanted to try at the beginning, but then I thought knight d5 and rook e6.
Yes, I was not too happy about this. I'm missing white squared bishop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to continue here with white. Well, what else caught your eye in this round?
I think that we have one last game here. No, that we've covered it, but it unfolded in a way that we didn't expect, because
Which game?
Anna played e5, so Anna Muzychuk is playing with the black pieces against Stavroula, and we didn't consider this move. That's what I wanted to show you and maybe ask for your expert opinion, because you know I don't play this line. So here, after rook e1,
we're waiting
e5.
to see Stavroula and Anna Muzychuk on our screens. Yeah, after bishop a6, I think this is about where we left. Rook e1 was played. We were also considering queen c2.
but e5 came as this is shock to me when I
Wow.
had a glance at this position, because you're simply giving this pawn away. But maybe the idea behind this move is not allowing white to establish this grip over the dark squares with the knight on e4. So the pawn is staying there forever, but you're transferring your knight to b6 and
Like this?
Yes, protecting the pawn. So
Very
let's see.
nice. So let's take a look after e5. My first question is, of course, why not take? And Stavroula has taken. Anna played knight d7. And
There is also knight c5, knight d3.
I was just
Nice.
thinking about
Yes.
that. This square looks so pretty for the knight.
What an interesting idea. Nazi, you know, the players are showing the depth of their preparations, but we know that many of them played the candidates.
Yes.
So let's say Vaishali won the candidates. Anna Muzychuk played in the candidates.
Bibisara.
Bibisara, Divya. Humpy actually...
Did 10 play the candidates? Yes.
But Humpy was qualified,
Yes,
but
she
Anna
withdrew.
replaced. Yes, she withdrew. But we can see how many ideas they still have in store. This is like candidates in itself, this tournament.
It is. It's such a strong event.
And the American players are having this unique possibility, yes, to face the strongest players in the world, and actually to understand what does it take to play the candidates.
Yes, it's such a great experience and practice for once they make it to the candidates. So we have knight e3, and now what are Anna's options? I see 3 logical moves. One is to take on e5, one maybe still try to jump to d3 via c5, and one very concrete line. I just want to quickly look at c3. Just because it's a tempo move, you will have to go queen c2, and let's say then I take on e5. Because I'm hoping maybe I can keep the pawn on c3.
Okay, let's try knight e5.
I just want to show that if you start this way, I will take. And black should be much better in this position. Maybe start with bishop d3, or another beautiful move, queen f6, a double attack. And suddenly black is much better.
I actually like queen f6 better, because if you're greedy in this position, Nazi, let's say you will take bishop c3 instead of queen f6, because it's such an obvious move, because you want to take one of the rooks. However, I think that actually this is already a mistake, because after bishop b2 and having this diagonal for yourself, and look at this knight g4. I wanted to illustrate it, yes. So you would think that bishop c3 is such a logical move. You're winning an exchange, but I had this feeling, and actually you helped me to see that my idea was correct, that white is even better here.
Even with the inclusion of bishop d3, I think we're still very happy with this exchange sacrifice, because the knight is coming to g4. This bishop is unstoppable.
And rook d1 is also coming.
Yes.
Like, what are you doing with your bishop?
This is just completely lost.
So queen f6 is a very precise inclusion in this line, but I think that maybe white can also play knight e5 first, not to take on... I want you to take on b2.
Yeah, b takes c3 was just a bad move. White should take here first.
Let's say rook d1, I want
Another
to include
good
it because maybe you can play queen d3. You see, I'm afraid that you will exchange queens if I don't play rook d1. So queen e7. And here I thought f4 and e5. Can I play it?
Let's start with f4. I will probably take at this moment on b2, because it might be my last chance.
Okay, take.
And let's say we trade the bishops. Yes, you still get the diagonal, but at least you don't have the bishop. However, I still have to watch out for knight g4.
I have a feeling that this position is very difficult for black.
Yeah, I think I have to be very concrete. And even with the best moves, maybe black is not okay in this position.
I can make a quiet move like queen f2, then kick.
Or you can be brave.
Oh no, this move doesn't come up to mind. And
Not
then
your
rook c1 I want to
taste.
play.
Oh yeah, this is so nice. Yes, black can have extra pawn on the queen side. It's 3 versus 1, but we are very happy on the king side, 4 versus 3, and attack still looming around the king. Black is struggling with the development. And I would love this position with white.
I am pretty sure that's and I'm sure that one of the most obvious plans here is also to play e5 and knight g4. If you will allow me, knight c4, knight d6, you know, the control over that dark squares is overwhelming here.
Absolutely.
So
maybe that's why c3 is not the best option for Anna, and maybe it should be some knight move, either here, or here.
Actually, Nazi, I was thinking about this idea, knight b6 first. But then I saw, like in the previous line, you have knight g4, maybe rook d1, knight g4, and your pieces are very passive. This knight on b8 will never come into play. You need the knight on d7, and it has to have its defensive role.
Yes, I think knight on b6 just ends up being too passive. So maybe knight... First, let's take a look at taking the pawn. We take. I like this knight g4 move. I was looking between f4 and knight g4, but let's try this. And if you step back, maybe e5.
But
I need a couple more moves. If I can get h4, bishop g5 in, I'm winning.
but I was afraid of queen d3, so maybe rook d1 first. That's like I'm always afraid that black will threaten to trade queens in this position.
Then we don't get e5 because of h5, right?
Oh.
So it's a toss. Do you want to get in e5 or do you want to allow queen d3?
But how do you react on queen d3? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, my queen is trapped, but maybe I'm still better in the endgame. Can I force you to trade? Because if you go king h8, then my queen is free.
Oh, okay.
And I avoid the trade.
Knight h6 is a wonderful follow-up. Yeah, I think this is the right way to play. However, this is far from over. The biggest difference being here is that the knight on b8 and the rook on a8 are
out of play.
Yes, they're out of play. And whenever the knight moves, I noticed, and if you play c3, then bishop f1 is winning a piece.
Nice, nice.
Some ideas are in the air.
We do have a move. Anna played the only move we didn't look at yet, knight c5. I was about to get to it, and she chose knight c5. She's not tempted by the pawn. Instead, she's focused on this d3 square. She either wants to put the queen or the knight on d3 for some active play.
I have the feeling that she's still in her preparation because those moves, which are the only moves now that we understand, knight c5, fighting for the d3 square. But then we need to understand what happens after knight c4. If we don't protect the pawn, of course, like I'm taking it.
Both queen d3 and knight d3 come to mind. First, I want to look at this because I might be winning some material. I think you need an in-between move, right? Maybe bishop g5?
Yes, because otherwise we're losing a piece.
Seems that way, right? And now the queen has to stay on the d file, so queen d7 only move. Okay, I'm so tempted to play this move. I don't know why, but it's there.
But maybe the idea is also to sacrifice an exchange in every line. Like in the previous line, we've seen that we are winning the dark square bishop and white is better. Here, maybe we can't lose a tempo and we need to leave the rook on a1. But I don't know. Maybe knight d6. Then you will.
Yeah, maybe black's not too happy here. I like your idea of just sacrificing material in any way. White should be much better here with this pawn structure and such great minor pieces. So
but
maybe
if bishop c4 here, just to check if it's enough. Yes, bishop c4, because I don't want to allow knight d6, of course. And what can I do? It's the material balance is very peculiar, Nazia. I understand what you mean, but I want to check, like, how can I finish the development? Let's say I will make an easy move. Rook e8, yes? You're tempted by e6 all the time.
You're provoking me now, right?
No, now it's like it's out of the question. I'm controlling
I
the
learned
default.
from Yasser to take hanging pawns, so I'm going to do that.
Oh, I forgot about this. But okay, let me try a5. Okay, let me try some. If not rook, not rook f8. Let me protect the pawn. Yes. What do you do here?
h4, as I wanted to play, and h5, and yeah, it's a complicated position, hard to evaluate. I think it depends on a player. Do you prefer material here or the activity? I would choose white.
And I think that you're absolutely right. Once again, the more I look at this position, and I'm trying very hard to develop my pieces, like the knight, even if it goes on a6, where does it go next? Let's say after.
Yeah, it takes too long.
But let's say I will make this move knight a6 just to illustrate the point. It's like h5.
Yeah.
Your move.
White's pieces are coming closer to you very fast.
So knight c7. Let's say I want to bring the knight to e6. Then h6, and the bishop is stuck on h8 forever.
Basically playing without the bishop now. Yeah. Now this is a great position. So maybe knight d3 back here is not the best option, and Anna is going for queen d3, your move, Almira, which might completely equalize this game.
Queen d3, then I think that
my knight on c4
Stavroula
is hanging.
Forced, yes, to trade queens.
I thought if I take, I lose material.
No. I mean, forced.
Yeah,
the queen
allow
is
the
stay.
trade.
Yes, allow the trade. Yes.
Maybe I have to play
choices.
something like b3 just to defend the knight, but yes, you can trade and can take on
but what about
c4 as
bishop
well.
c4?
Yeah,
And now knight
now
d7.
all of a sudden I'm not too happy with my pawn structure, and these knights are looking very good. Let's say bishop b2. Bishop b2 apparently already worse for white after knight a4. Black can start playing for more than equality.
And you can't play a3 because it will create the pass pawn. No, I mean not here, of course. Just you want
Yeah,
to
there's
get
always-
rid, yes, and this weak pawn. The thing is, it's one of those opening choices where, like in a move or two, the character of the position changes so much that you don't even understand where is this like very fine line where you were thinking you were having an advantage, and then suddenly black is okay and fighting maybe for more.
It happens so often. Sometimes your position turns around so quickly and you wonder, where did I go wrong? What happened? And yes, after queen d3, look how quickly everything changed without the queens. I don't like my minor pieces. I'm not happy with the pawns.
Do I have another move, Nazia? Can I play knight fd2 just to check one last move? Because I want to take on c4 with the knight.
Maybe this is better than b3, but I'm still quite satisfied with black's position here. This is such an awkwardly placed knight, right?
And the thing is, you can even play knight d6, knight d4.
So many options for black. So is our conclusion that knight c4 is just bad for white? Maybe Stavroula should just not touch this pawn. But what else can we do? Because queen d3 is coming either way. I thought might as well take the pawn.
Can we try something else? Knight g4, yes, queen d3 probably.
Okay, knight f6. At least maybe I can get rid of your bishop and improve my pawn structure. You don't have to though, right? You could play king h8.
Maybe I like this a bit more.
So I think black can play king h8, but in this case knight stays on f6 and it's quite unpleasant for black. So I'm going to take a look at bishop f6 line. Takes, takes. At first I was really happy to have the pawn on f6, but now I'm seeing that after knight d7 I may not be able to save it. Because if I play e5, let's see. If only I had one or two more moves, I would be able to support these pawns and be very happy. But right now, I think I'm losing one of them. Because knight f6 is a threat. What do you think, Almira?
I actually think that whenever you're looking for a compensation, let's say you need something. So the dark squares need to compensate for those avalanche of pawns, yes, on the queen side. So
Sorry, we're having some technical issues, so we'll have Almira back very shortly. In this position, yes, I think the dark squares are very important, but I think it's a very concrete endgame. You can't play just thematic moves. It's all move by move. I think we went pretty far. I'm going to back up. We're talking about knight g4 for Stavroula. She's still taking her time. This is going to be a long thing, such a critical moment after Anna's last move, knight c5. We looked at knight c4, knight g4. There's also options of maybe just queen c2 or avoiding something like this completely. But we'll see Stavroula about to make a move. There we go. We have queen c2. And Almira, back to this game between Divya and Alice. We were expecting queen d7, and that's exactly what happened. And after e takes d6, Alice correctly took back with the queen, because as we pointed out, if you take bishop d6, rook e1 check, you lose the castle. This is practically lost for black right away.
queen d7, this is modern chess. I think that my trainer would have cut my head off, for such an opening. So,
even I would scold my students for this, but it's hard to argue with an engine.
Of course. And the position that Alice reached later is a very nice one.
Yes, absolutely. She equalized, so I'll catch us up after b3. Divya is planning to go bishop a3 and I this bishop on e7. Alice castled, bishop a3. And now a lot of trades have happened, after which I think this last move, knight e2, might not have been the most accurate one because it allows Alice to play this move c5, which she's very happy to play because now she can finally activate her bishop. So maybe instead of knight e2, Divya should have played queen f3?
Oh, I like this move. So you want to trade queens and to dominate the light square bishop, yes, with your powerful knights. So let's say you will take queen f3, knight f3, and c5 because you need to activate your bishop. I think the best square for the bishop in this position is b7.
Definitely this open diagonal.
Or maybe you can also try bishop e6 if the white knight goes to...
Bishop e6?
Yes, to another square. So
yeah, we can target the b3 pawn as well.
Yes, I can see this delicious pawn. So c5 is a very important move because you need to take away the d4 square. If the knight will be able to establish itself on d4, let's say you don't play c5, but let's say something rook b8, knight
and we pretend that c5 is not a move.
Knight g6.
Sure.
And then if white will be able to play b4 and to establish the control over the dark squares, then white position is going to be a very pleasant one. And
yeah, great outpost for the knight on d4. But let's see what happened in the game. So after Divya played knight e2, allowing c5, now Alice feels like she can take over the position. Queen f3 came one move later, and look at this sacrifice. C takes d, queen e8, white's up in exchange. What is Alice's plan? She takes on c3. Actually, I thought it was knight c6, just to cut off the queen. Is it...
So knight c6, and well, I can still take queen f8 later. Yes, and so
yes.
let's say I will play.
But I'm threatening bishop a6. I thought this was the plan.
Yeah, and you want to take on c3 as well.
Exactly. I'm still keeping this in my pocket while threatening bishop a6. Maybe white simply moves the rook away from the target square. So now if you go bishop a6, oops, I did blunder. There is just simply rook e8. So I would still have to go to d takes c3. And yeah, who knows what that subtle difference is, including knight c6 or not.
Yes, but what should I play here is white? Like if knight e4, because I thought that was the follow-up, but then queen g6, threatening bishop h3.
No, this looks very scary, and all of this for just an exchange. And black already has a pawn for it as well. Very strong pawn, if I may add. And can she still get this position after d takes c3? Can we transpose to this?
Now I will play knight e4 immediately. Okay.
And if I go queen g6?
So maybe knight c3, I can still take
and bishop h3 is not scary because, your bishop is just, sorry, your queen is free to come back. So I still have to include this move. And difference is white didn't have to play rook e1, and here you're a lot more flexible and have more options.
But however, I cannot play rook e1 here because you will play
lose?
bishop h3. And so
how does white actually avoid this?
It's an interesting question. I thought that I have knight d5 and then queen c6.
Oh,
but
the tactic.
But you will still play bishop h3.
This is very important. I think without knight d5, white is just lost. But after knight d5...
But bishop h3, I have no time for queen c6, so maybe knight f4.
Oh, just to show everyone, queen c6 is too slow. So there's this move, knight f4. So lucky.
But this is a very complicated line, I see. I think
it continues, right? Let's move the queen somewhere good, where it defends the knight and attacks yours.
Those moves
okay,
are
if nothing
not
else,
at all.
You can do this and just take here. It's always hard for me to evaluate queen versus two rooks because it always depends on the position.
However, here I have a feeling that the knight will establish itself on d4. Let's say knight d4, c5, a5 maybe.
Yeah, well, this knight on d4 black cannot possibly be worse. But maybe all white has to do is fix the knight, and then white also will be completely fine.
But let's see what happened at the game. The thing is, I like Alice's idea for a very important reason, that it changed completely the character of the position. Divya was thinking, okay, I don't know if I have a slight advantage. Maybe black will make precise moves. Maybe my knights will not be able to dominate the white bishop. However, she was not expecting this game to be so different in a few moves. So now she has to solve so many concrete problems, and the tactical ideas are everywhere in this position. Whereas before, okay, the knight was on d4, knight was going to f3, and she was feeling very comfortable.
She was enjoying her position. And in this completely chaotic position, she's down to 20 minutes with still 23 moves to go until time control, while Alice is enjoying her 1 hour and 8 minutes.
So basically after knight a4 here, queen g6, do we have an alternative?
You know, queen g6 is a one move, but it's not the only move. I had my eyes on queen b6.
And bishop b7.
Yes, it looks pretty dangerous, and knight e4 is on the board right now. We'll see. I'm sure Alice was thinking during Divya's time, because Divya took a long time before playing this last couple of moves. If queen b6, how do you defend from bishop b7?
Well, I have no idea. I think that I have the only move. I have to play a5.
Oh, a5. Because if you do something like rook e1, like just defending the knight, I might go back to this idea.
Bishop b7 is
because
not
this is my plan. If you take, and take, now this is a much better version of queen versus two rooks, because I keep the pawn alive. I might win another, but more importantly, I'm coming for a checkmate.
Yes, but what I wanted to know, why bishop b7 is not working. You will play a5 at that
Oh,
moment?
it might be working. I was just so happy to see bishop h3.
Oh.
But yes, I guess still a5, queen.
And yes, and queen a7. You see, that's
Yeah, so I
now
have to
knight
go-
c5 is jumping.
So many in between moves, and
attacking,
then
yes, the bishop on b7.
the
yes.
knight is also hanging on e7. So after knight e4, queen b6, probably immediately a5 is the best move. And then if I go queen a6, do you still play knight c5?
Yes, I think so. I need to.
There's
get
so much
rid
to
of your
calculate
queen.
here. It must be impossible over the board.
Can I make a draw here by knight e4 if you go queen a6?
There is a draw option, but I doubt Alice would take that, since
Then I can take on a7.
she's not taking a big risk. Am I losing this knight? Because if I'm not losing the knight, I've got two pieces for a rook and the pawn on c3.
No, actually, I was hoping for queen c7, but then I saw knight d5, and like I can't. I wanted to play a6, a7 very quickly.
Very
but-
quickly, yeah.
Maybe the sacrifice is a very dubious one.
This is definitely a dangerous pawn, but if I manage to stop it, then black is winning. So it's risky for both sides here.
Yes, especially you will always have knight c7. Then maybe if I will need to stop this pawn. But maybe a different version of this sacrifice would work. Let's say rook e1, bishop h3. Yes, and this is it.
Yeah. Maybe take on c3. Just take the pawn. But this is the line we looked at, right? And knight d5, and
Yes.
this very complicated line that I don't even know how to evaluate. Probably balanced, if we can say that. This queen versus two rooks, but with the knight on h3.
No, with the only difference being that the pawn is already on a5.
And also
so
black's pawn is gone from c3.
it's an extra target for black.
Very interesting position. Alice has plenty of time to figure out what to do next. Almira, should we check another game? Maybe Bibisara and Vaishali?
Yes, we should definitely check this game because Bibisara was facing a very interesting opening choice on Vaishali's behalf, and then the game unfolded exactly in the way that I've predicted. Knight d5, rook e6, rook g6. So let's have a look how the game continued.
She played knight a3 with the idea of c4, and Vaishali shut that down immediately with b5. c3, accepting that, okay, maybe c4 is just not going to work.
But
Rook
maybe
e8.
b4 was a threat. Let's
B-
see.
Ooh.
Yes, like, don't know, you would go knight b1
So
once
let's
to
make
get-
some random move.
Yes.
Just b4.
Yes, let's see.
And I either have to go back or, excuse me, or I have to calculate c4 that may or may not work.
Knight
Interesting.
b6, knight
b5 quite
c4.
strong.
I love this move.
So Bibisara played c3 to avoid b4, rook e8. She's still hoping for c4. So she's struggling with this development, right? I want to get these pieces out as soon as possible. Could she have played bishop d2?
D2.
Maybe she wasn't happy about knight c4, forcing the straight, getting the pawn on c4, and this knight versus this bishop, it feels like we're playing good knight versus bad bishop.
But the thing is, I feel that even though that black has sufficient compensation here, let's say if I trade both rooks and I'll put my bishop on c1, like I'm not risking anyone. I mean, in case if you will attack the pawn on b2. So it's a very balanced position, yes, where black will claim that the knight on d5 is worth a pawn.
Yeah. It's a pretty knight, but white doesn't have enough weaknesses to lose this game. Instead, Bibisara played b3, and now this is the current position. Do we think they're heading towards a draw? Are we going to see a repetition?
So 45 minutes for Bibisara and 39 minutes for Vaishali.
So if Bibisara goes back, can Vaishali try to play for more?
This is very interesting because after queen g3, let's say what will be the next move for white? Bishop d2.
Yes,
and
is
rook
bishop
e1.
d2. Yeah, and rook e1.
So we need to either anticipate this move, either to prepare something different. Let's say, can we invade the second rank for the moment? Because the knight on f3 is staying there forever. Because now that you have a weakness on c3, maybe not immediately. I wanted to prepare this. I need maybe queen f5 first, let's say, because otherwise you would have played queen d3.
Yeah, nice move, queen f5, cutting me off from d3 square.
But I was trying to calculate knight b5, you know.
I don't have any moves. Yes. What else do I do? Let me take the pawn.
Knight b5, but then...
Is this dangerous? Because now I no longer have queen f3.
No longer have queen
Actually, what do I have? Queen h4 is the only move, but I think I'm trapped.
Oh no, then queen f5, rook g6 is winning. Yes, so knight b5 can't work.
So you are threatening rook g6, and
actually,
how can I avoid it? Do I have to go f4?
I want to dominate all of your pieces. So I think queen f5 is the move which takes away the queen d3 square. The queen is the only piece which is still moving on the board for white.
You're cutting off my queen and my bishop, and threatening rook g6 with a win. I might have to do something that I'm not happy about, which is f4.
Okay, let's try f4. But
just to not lose my queen.
But then I have the e4 square, let's say rook g6.
The white squares are so weak in this position. I think all you have to do is bring this knight into the game and
maybe?
You'll be winning. Or maybe include b4 just because the pawn is still hanging. So if you go knight c6, I'll take.
Yes, I keep forgetting. However, like maybe like the queen... is x-raying this knight on b5, yes. But then I see before knight c6 here.
Yes, and now look at this. Oh, no, this is a terrible position for white. I can't even play bishop e2. Your other rook is coming in.
And look at this domination. It's a triumph of the spirit over matter, yes. 2 pawns down for the moment. But however, look at all black's pieces. Like,
they
wonderful queen on
the
5, yes, rook on g6. Rook is controlling the e file, knight d5, knight c6. This is a total disaster. I don't have any other word for this position.
Yeah, this is a positional disaster. So Bibisara can't allow this. Maybe she should go queen d3. Instead of going back to g3, since you showed me queen f5, I have to stop that.
But then you're absolutely right. So the pawn on b5. Ah, okay. Actually, queen d3 is maybe threatening to take on b5. So maybe your move b4. C takes b4 and knight c6 once again. Ah, but I could
at least d4 isn't hanging. So that's good news for white. Can we?
No, but here because I thought that
bishop d2.
Nazi could. I didn't want to take on b4, but maybe knight b4 was even better. Let's b4, knight b4. Here.
Maybe I can get rid of the queens.
But now knight c6. That was the
They're
knight
not letting me get rid of the queens. I sense a little bit of activity for white, and I'm very happy about that compared to what we had 2 minutes ago.
So if I play knight d5 here, you will play knight c4 maybe. Oh no, knight c4
rook e1. Yeah. I think the queen is actually not misplaced on b5. It's very well placed because on one hand, I completely abandoned the king, but none of your pieces are there yet. So I'm actually putting pressure on all the central pieces here.
However, once again, I have this feeling that this is one of those positions where one step in a different direction and white positions will collapse. So
Agreed.
you see how precise you need to be. We tried every possible option, and black is still okay. So it means that there is no clear way to equality. I mean, the equality, let's say, to a balanced position where you can transpose to an endgame where you will feel safe. There is no way to transpose to this endgame.
No, black can always avoid the queen trade, and always have to be very careful here. But I think queen d3 is a must-play move. If Bibisara goes back to g3 and Vaishali finds queen f5, white is in big trouble.
You're absolutely right, but then let's wait and see. Bibisara is still thinking. And maybe let's have a look at the game between Carissa and Alexandra. This game is very, very interesting for me for different reasons, because Carissa... Actually, I wanted to explain something. Maybe Alexandra, who plays Petrov very often, thought that it is a perfect opening choice for her game against Carissa, because let's say Carissa is a very strong player, but if she manages to keep this position rather balanced, then maybe Carissa has this form of impatience, and she will try, to break this balance and maybe to over push.
Yes, take very big risk and give Alexandra a chance.
And what I've seen is that Carissa is playing very patiently. She gradually improves her pieces, and now she played knight e2. We will see. So Alexandra offered to trade those knights, and the art of trading is one of the most interesting things in chess. I like it very much. There are so many different exercises. Should you trade a knight? Should you trade knight and bishop, queen, rooks, and etc. So it's like, if you master the art of trading, I think that your understanding of the game improves
greatly. And I think
greatly.
you study this your entire life.
And even now, I'm thinking, okay, knight e2 was played.
I was actually thinking, Almira, that allowing knight b5 maybe wasn't the best, and Carissa should have played a4, because knight on a7 was such a passive piece. And once Alexandra's knight came to b5, I think black is feeling a little bit of a relief. So I thought a4 was an important inclusion that maybe Carissa underestimated.
So restricting the knight even more. I think that we've seen this in one of the lines that we've analyzed. So let's say rook e1, and then rook e8, something like this. Yes, might follow.
Yeah, and then it's similar position, except that knight on a7 is just passive.
I had a follow-up for your idea. Let's say the knight would go to c8 after all these trades, but then you can play a5.
Very nice.
And this is it.
So this pawn is just haunting this knight.
Yeah. And then if you will manage to trade it on b5, maybe at some point I will play a6. Yes. So, it's...
But let's see. So Carissa allowed knight b5, and now she avoided the trade with knight e2. But she gave up the control of the e4 square, and that seems quite important in this position, since a lot of black's pieces are pointed at e4. Is it possible to play something on e4?
Maybe
the bishop?
If you don't want to take, yes, on d3, then maybe bishop e4. But once again, Carissa might have this natural move g5, and where is your...
g5?
Yes,
wow, I was looking
going.
at knight g5. Let's take a look. So if I take on f3, you take on f6, and this is not a good trade for me, because white's king is quite safe on h2. Meanwhile, black's king is suffering. So I guess I have to move the knight.
Well, knight h5.
Are you giving me your dark square bishop?
Well, actually, I was hoping for you to take. So it's not very often that I sacrifice a piece, like even temporarily. So I was hoping for you to take. No, let me try. I had another idea. It's like maybe not g5 immediately, but knight h4.
Knight h4.
Yes, okay. I will not give this knight so easily. And then I want to play knight f5 next. However, I was not sure what is happening after. You cannot take on d5 now. Let's say bishop d5, you still have c4.
Yeah, I was not looking at this. It looks wrong, but you're right. It immediately loses the piece.
Just to show.
So what if I play g6 and just not let you go to f5?
But you're not losing...
Is my bishop
Yes.
getting trapped?
But the thing is, I don't know how to trap it. F3 immediately. Ah, no, bishop d3. Okay. But now a b5 doesn't allow me to play. Okay, f3, bishop d5. Ah, g5.
Mhm.
Okay. And this is it. Yes, that's how you
So-
lose a piece.
This bishop was fine on g6, and I managed the way to lose it. I
So you
found a
have
way.
to. Oh, this is.
So I can't play g6. Now you're threatened bishop takes and f3.
But let's say bishop d3. Maybe bishop d3. Maybe you should start bishop. No, leave the knight on f3. Maybe then. What? Maybe now is the moment where you can take on d3.
After knight h4?
No. Just before. Let's say. How is this different?
Well, c4 is still coming. The knight's still going to f5. I don't know which one actually this knight might make it to f5.
Yes, I think you are right. Here, white is well, maybe not much better because we still don't have a material advantage here. Yes, it's like
It's just all space advantage for
all
now.
space advantage.
And black's just passive, and the knight is a bit iffy on b5.
But we know how it feels to play this position with black. So no, maybe bishop d3 is not the right way.
All right, Almira, and we have pie charts that Ben Underwood prepared for us. Let's take a look to see who was the favorite pre-tournament to win this event. And then I think we have an update after round one. We'll see if it changed. Well, pre-tournament chances to win. Assaubayeva was the favorite with 18%. Zhongyi at almost 16.
Yes, and as we can see, Anna Muzychuk is our second seed. However, Tan has a better chance to win this tournament according to this magical formula, yes, that Ben has, and he will not reveal it. I think it's better guarded than the Coca-Cola recipe, yes? I don't know, we have
He
to
has
ask.
the vault too, right?
Exactly. However, the biggest surprise for me was that Carissa, our defending champion, is still only on 6% before the event started, so a pre-tournament prediction. A lot of simulations, I think, have been made to achieve these numbers.
And let's see if we have an update after round one, if it changed. And of course, now we have three co-leaders.
Three co-leaders, Zhongyi, Divya, Deshmukh, and Alice Lee. But look at this, Alice is only about 7% chance to win this event.
And Carissa dropped at 3% after her loss yesterday.
So will she make another comeback like last year? She started the event with 1.5 out of 4. I remember this, you know. And then she won 4 games in a row and she won the event.
Her odds must have been much worse after 4 rounds last year, and she defied all odds and won. So we'll see what happens this year.
Yes, Nazi, look at this. After loss, Vaishali, the World Championship challenger, has only slightly more than 3% chance to win this event. This is brutal.
This is brutal, yes. But still pretty tight race.
Yes, let's see, the Tour de France was never won in one day, you know. There are a lot of, moments in this race. And actually, that's what I wanted to say. It takes much more to win a tournament than to be a good player. You have to have this combination of qualities. Let's see, after the...
And you have to be just in good form, and also luck has to be on your side. Let's jump to another game. Carissa against Alexandra Kosteniuk. The game is almost over. I'll point out just a couple moves ago where Carissa managed to break through. She got the pawn on g6, and the threats of queen h4, queen h7 are so serious that Kosteniuk's position is just collapsing. So you can see next couple of moves, Alexandra tried to some desperate moves, right? Just to get rid of the pawn on g6, but it didn't work out. Carissa played absolutely the best moves, and now you're never getting out of this pin.
And I wanted to tell that both players, Carissa and Alice Lee, are looking for their grandmaster norms. If Alice will start with 2 out of 2, this will be one of the greatest claims, you know, in this tournament. But Carissa is actually looking at her final grandmaster norm.
She is.
So she needs to win this game, and I think both players need 6 out of 9 to accomplish that.
And they both have very good chances. In the current position, I think Alexandra just calculating her final moves because this game is about to be over. This rook is about to be lost. You have to move your queen. Only square available I see is d1. And after this, I can simply give you a check and then just pick up the hanging rook.
Yes, so we are about to have a handshake in this game. You have to acknowledge, yes, that your opponent was better.
In this game, and you can see on this graph, game progress, White was just better the entire game, and then Carissa just outplayed Kosteniuk. Congratulations, Carissa. She bounced back after a painful loss yesterday, and we wish that Alexandra can recover from such a bad start.
Of course, and Carissa has just won against the former world champion and the World Cup winner. Alexandra Kosteniuk, I think, is one of the most title players in this field.
And in the world.
In the world, yes.
And let's jump into one more game we have going on. That's another former world champion. Zhongyi is playing Humpy Koneru. And we have a very funny material imbalance. Funny because White has a queen for just 2 bishops. But can Black build some kind of a fortress?
The thing is, Nazi, now I think that Zhongyi can even take on e6. Let's say you will take on e6, win this pawn. Yes. Let's say queen e8.
And win the pawn.
Just win the pawn, and then you cannot keep your rook.
But do you win the pawn?
No, I mean not immediately.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me allow you to take the pawn.
Yes, so
and
you
then
cannot.
You
Yes, you cannot keep your rook on the 4th, and I will win the e4 pawn. So I simply need to prepare this.
So the plan is to sacrifice the exchange and win both of these pawns, and that would be an easy win.
Can I play queen a6?
All right. You're very direct with your threat.
So
okay, let me move the rook somewhere.
And I want maybe to take rook e6.
Yep, you're getting this, and
e6.
I'm just hoping at least I can keep the e4 pawn, and then.
Oh wow!
Then
rook
maybe
e5.
I can survive.
I missed this move. Oh
Okay,
no! This is not correct.
All right, and.
No!
This can happen. We cannot.
You cannot do this
like
at home, no. But what else?
Yeah, Tan needs to find a different way. You know, we can play this position for a long time. You keep improving the position. Maybe Black will run out of useful moves and weaken something.
No, yes, you're absolutely right. So I cannot allow rook c5, maybe queen b7, queen b6. I'm shouldering you a little bit, and then to take queen e6. Yes.
So it's still tricky. And of course, Humpy is hoping that she has some kind of a fortress, but we don't believe in fortresses. Not when it's a queen against 2 bishops.
Like, I believe in miracles, Nazi, and especially that those fortresses are very often come out of our imagination. Yes, we have to imagine a position where it will hold. So it's a study-like position. However, yes, I think a very simple sacrifice will decide the game.
Indeed, and she just played this move, queen a6. She's definitely eyeing the rook e6, but we'll see.
But then rook c5 is a very precise move here. But then maybe let's wait a little bit.
Maybe play queen b6 now.
Yes. Where do you go? Rook e5.
I'm going to stand on e5.
Okay, and now maybe queen d6. Okay, I'm not losing anything yet.
Yeah,
okay.
you can even make queen c6 and just wait for me to move the rook. Because I don't have easy moves like king g6. Because you can keep pressuring me. But you know what? I'm starting to think that this is not as straightforward as I thought it was. Luckily, Tan does have enough time on her clock to figure out how to outplay this position. But I'm going to stop my analysis because I have a very special guest with me. 4-time U.S. Women's Champion Carissa, who just managed to defeat former world champion Alexandra Kosteniuk. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, Nazi.
How are you feeling right now?
I feel good. It was a worse game than I wanted it to be from my end, but I managed to pull it out in the end.
Oh, absolutely. You kind of outplayed almost the entire game. We can go back. Tell me about the opening choice. Were you expecting the Petrov?
Yeah, I was to some level, but I mean, she plays it pretty often. But we played a Karakan recently, like just last month in Beale. So I wasn't sure, and I actually I hadn't checked this knight f6, so I was.
What were you expecting, knight c3?
Yeah, just classic. But okay, knight f6 is kind of a solid attempt, and I remember this like h3 g4 idea, but after that I was kind of on my own. But yeah, I knew this position should be pretty nice for white.
Yes, it's definitely. We were happy to see h3 g4, in the Petrov. And you just mentioned you played her last month. How did that game go? What was the result?
It was a tough game. I lost that one. Yeah.
But you got your revenge.
Something like that.
All right. So at what point did you think you were starting to be better in this game?
Oh, man. I really bungled it. I felt like around like moves 15 to 18.
Okay, I'm going to jump right here.
Honestly, when this knight b5 came onto the board, I was kind of pretty annoyed. I mean, I was looking at some like knight a2, knight e2. It just felt like, her pieces were getting unnecessarily active.
And you, of course, don't want to trade.
Yeah, I don't want to take. So I played knight e2, but I just burned so much time on this move. And then I was kind of I just want to make sure I wasn't low on time again after what happened yesterday, because I had this like one move blunder that threw the game away when I had just like seconds left. So
it's a great
just
strategy.
want to avoid that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything can happen in time trouble.
Yeah.
And then you guys got to this position where I was surprised by f takes e. Were you expecting this?
To some level, yes, because I felt she probably wanted to keep the game complicated, again, since I'm low on time. But I think structurally it just becomes kind of difficult for black.
Because it looks like 3 hanging pawns, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't realize how good it was for me. So I was kind of mostly trying to focus on maintaining control, not letting anything goofy happen.
And then I'm sure you were tempted to play g5, but you were looking for the right moment.
I was not tempted to play g5, to be honest. I mean, I wanted to, but g5, knight h5, and I just felt like, I really liked my bishop on g3 for now because it was putting so much pressure on d6. So again, I kind of just want to maintain the position and see what she does.
Keep the pressure on.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense. That's why you played rook d2 and this move knight g5 here.
Yeah, I felt exchanging knights should make it less dangerous for me at least. But yeah, now position becomes kind of equalish.
So you wanted to have no risk type of position.
Yeah, I mean, again, I was kind of stressed with this low time issue, so just wanted 0 risk.
All right, and then I'm going to jump right towards the end. Once you got the pawn on g6, you knew that you were winning, right? This position here.
Yeah, I felt I should be winning, but yeah, I just need to kind of find the right moves. Yeah,
well, you found all the best moves?
Yeah, I've also been looking at queen g4, queen f5 to go into the endgame, which I felt should be, again, no risk. But then I was like, enough of this no risk mentality. We could just try to win it here.
That's not your personality, right?
We could just try to win it here, exactly.
And that was a good choice. You did manage to completely destroy her position. So going into tomorrow, how are you feeling?
Definitely feel better. I feel like it's always good to bounce back with a win. And yeah, I haven't checked who I'm playing tomorrow yet, but I'll get started on that soon.
All right, congrats again, Carissa, and thank you for joining us. And Almira, let's look at Alice's endgame one more time. We have this rook endgame where she has the extra pawn, which reminds me of her yesterday's endgame. She's playing very well.
She's definitely playing well, and
she managed to get her king all the way up.
Of course, and she's contemplating maybe this position and disbelief, like a kid. I'm about to win my second game, yay! So please don't spoil it. Please don't spoil it. So I'm pretty sure that these are the things.
That's what would be going in my mind. But Alice is so calm, cool, and collected. I think she's just like, oh, another win.
Okay.
But I hope I get to interview her later and ask her exactly how she was feeling. Divya down to 5 minutes.
Divya is down to 5 minutes, and she's faced with a very difficult choice. Well, but let's see what happens after she checks once again.
Yes. That's
Rook
all she can
B1.
do at this point. Give checks.
Maybe king c3.
Do we? At this point, what do we do? Maybe go far.
Yes, let's say yes, rook h1, maybe worse. Yes, if you can check from
from the
g3,
sides,
yes.
right? I think your king just starts walking in any direction at this point.
So rook g4.
Check, check, king. Let's go to e3. Check, king f4, and at this point, do you go rook a3?
Yes, I want to go rook a3.
I think I can put you in Zugzwang, because look at this, you're not moving.
Some king g4 maybe.
Maybe
King f5.
king f5 first. You give me another check. Okay, king e4, you move here. Okay, at some point I do have to start moving this pawn, right? So, okay, let's head back.
Well,
You gotta move your king?
yes, but king g5 allows maybe, I thought maybe rook
I'm just gonna
h6, okay.
continue with my plan.
So
Yeah.
this, yes, this is it. If I put my rook on a3, okay, let's say I will wait king h6, just another move, just to make king b4, rook a1, a3, and this is it, I think so.
Yeah, this rook is so perfectly placed defending h7 that when white sacrifices the rook for the pawn, black will be able to take with the king and not lose the h7 pawn.
Of course. But then I have another try. When my rook is on the g file, okay, let's be more aggressive.
Now or go back?
No, just going back. Let's say rook c1 here. Yes, let's try rook g7 just to show that we are not in time. So you can take on g7.
Yes, I think you're
Yes.
about one tempo behind.
Yes, a3.
Which is just devastating, right?
And that's it. So a1, and this is.
And you're so close. If pawn was on
unfortunately not
h7, that's a draw.
yes. Yes, but that's what I wanted to show.
Yeah.
Yes, because you might not be familiar with those endgames. And let's make a move. Just make a move which is not a check.
Yes, like
Yes,
king
so
d3.
actually after h7, you will see that this is a draw.
And I'll show you why it's a draw. So you give a lot of checks, and then there's just this always idea of stalemate. And that's the problem. You don't have time to bring the king over. You'll have to keep giving me checks, and then I'm threatening to promote. When you put my king here, it's a stalemate. And that's how it's a draw. So, of course, this will not happen in this position. Black starts with checks and forces your king to go in front of the pawn at some point, and then
Well, then you need to.
there'll be enough time to bring the queen over, right?
Yes,
How do we
let's.
put
Yes,
the queen
yes,
here?
of course. Yes. No, but first.
Oh, queen f2, yeah, simply. While they're playing this endgame, I actually want to go quickly back to Tan Zhongyi's game because, Almira, your idea to win the e4 pawn is happening. Tan figured out how to win this pawn, and after she does that, then it's an easy conversion.
But this was a very human way, to convert this kind of advantage, or at least to break the fortress, because this light square bishop was keeping the whole position. So I need the pawn in e4, and this was the way. Once again, once you are imagining what is the position, like your perfect position, then you have the way.
Yes, once you envision it, then you know you'll figure out how to get there. And she did exactly that. Queen is on f5. After this pawn falls, of course, she can create a passer, maybe two connected passers, and then, of course, there's no chances of a fortress. And you can see on Humpy's face, she knows now it's lost. So Alice Lee won't be the only leader with 2 points. Well, neither of the games are over yet, but if Alice wins and Tan wins,
yes, we will
both
have
with perfect scores.
2 players leading the event with perfect scores. Tan Zhongyi is a very dangerous player when she's in form, by the way. So 2 out of 2 will inspire her to win more, of course, and to even to be more ambitious with the black pieces. That's what I wanted to say, because you're saying, well, maybe it doesn't go the way I wanted it, but 2 out of 2 gives you this confidence where you start to play for a win with the black pieces.
Every game, right?
Yes, every game.
It gives you so much confidence. You feel like things are going your way, you're in great shape, you're calculating everything correctly, and then there's also psychological pressure on your opponents. They know you're doing well, and they're afraid of you. Yeah, rook is on c3, and I think after, would you go just immediately f4? Why wait? I don't think we need any prophylaxis in this position. We just start pushing, and it's going to be a very straightforward win from here.
Actually, I was thinking about Nigel Short King's match. You know, he
Yes.
went to g5 and almost to h6, but I thought maybe you can simply play king f3, king e4, yes, king f5, and king g6.
Playing for the checkmate.
Yes,
Very
exactly.
nice. I like it.
It's such a beautiful, elegant idea. Once king g3 first. Oh, it's a pity. Maybe Tan wants to play h4 to trade this pawn as well. And
have 3 connected
yes,
passers.
she will have 3 connected passers, or she will win the pawn on g5.
Agreed.
So she's forcing a trade, and this will be completely winning, of course.
Yeah, I like your idea. I'm just going to show it. So king f3 and king walk in, but probably black would be able to cut the king off on the 5th rank, maybe.
Yeah, no, but if I want to,
you can still make it
to
happen,
do it, yes,
yeah.
I will. Like, I will try to play queen e7. Then where does your rook go? At some point, you know, I will push it to the 6th rank probably, and this is it.
Yeah, it's nice to have such a winning position that 2 completely different ideas win.
And Tan goes for h4.
Yeah, I am expecting a handshake very soon. Once this pawn situation is resolved, either Humpy has to give up g5 pawn or trade here and allow to connect all white's pawns.
Nazi, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it's an easier way to get to the square on g6, yes?
You want to play h5?
No, you will play g takes h4, king h4, king
It's
h5.
faster.
Yes, it's faster. Yes.
And you can always play f4, f5 to block the checks. You're right, it's still there. The idea still exists. Well, what can we say? Humpy yesterday, she had a winning endgame, not even better. She was completely winning against Stavroula, and she rushed in one moment, and Stavroula managed to save the game. Of course, she is devastated after that, and then today, Zhongyi was just better prepared and played a better game.
And Humpy Koneru is one of the players who actually didn't play the candidates tournament. She qualified, but she decided to withdraw at the very last moment, of course. And I was thinking that all those months of preparations, you know, they shouldn't go to waste. You know, she should play a lot of tournaments and show her preparation, show how strong she is. So I think that the Cairns Cup is actually her second event after the Norway chess. She played there. It was the first super tournament that she played, and unfortunately she was not being able to confirm.
And she's taken on h4. Let's take a look at her profile, actually. Humpy, she's played Cairns Cup at least twice that I commented on, maybe even more times. She's 39 years old. She's been India's #1 for many years. Her current FIDE rating is 25-24, but she was definitely at some point around 2600.
Exactly. What I wanted to tell you, Nazi, maybe you don't remember it, but Humpy was actually the first woman after Judith Polgar to break the 2600 barrier.
Incredible.
And
very few women have done that.
Of course, and she's actually one of the Cairns Cup winners.
Yes, and she's also 2-time Women's World Rapid Champion, which is very hard to do. So, wow, absolutely an incredible player. Let's look at Zhongyi's profile, her opponent. Former Women's World Champion, she's 35 years old. Her FIDE rating also used to be higher, 25-20, but she's consistently remains in top 5 in the world for how many years now?
Well, for many, many years now, and she actually played for the title several times.
Yes.
She managed to win one of months, but she won the knockout tournament, and then I think she played the matches twice.
Yes. And she finished second. Yes,
she finished second. So I think.
Can you imagine her preparation? How many novelties and secrets she still has in her pocket?
Well, let's see.
Now she has 3 connected pawns. She's not rushing to start pushing them. She's just maneuvering.
By the way, you can see that Alice Lee is in the picture.
Yes, in the back.
Having the front seat while playing herself another rook endgame.
What do you think? Is Humpy going to resign soon or wait till one of the pawns is close to promotion?
I think that Humpy will make a few moves. She wants to be sure, of course, that her opponent will show her technique and convert to the material advantage. But
maybe we should jump to the other game then,
Yes.
because Divya is down to 2.5 minutes in this lost end game that she has against Alice. And so far, looks like Alice's technique is absolutely perfect.
what I'm thinking, I wanted to show this move. A3 is probably winning, but then I thought,
don't think it
what
is.
if Rook A3?
Yes.
What I want to say, it looks winning, but it's another trap. It's probably the last trap in this position, but because after King H7, it's a draw. So
Looks like our king is close enough.
yes, but no, I think King G7 and then H. You cannot come closer.
Yes,
pawn. You cannot
can
mate
give me a
me.
check.
Maybe it's one of those situations where can you play H7, H8? Wait. Let's do it. Let's say
In which position?
I wanted to here. No. Like sacrifice. Let's show it here. King E7. So King G7. Check Rook A7.
Or Rook
Yes,
A7
Rook
check.
A7, and then King G6 only draws. That's what
Oh,
I
right.
wanted to show because King
If we
G8
go
is
up.
actually losing. Yes, so H7 and
Of course, if you promote to a
Yes.
queen, it's a checkmate, and if you get a
knight, and
you-
then King F6 is winning. That is the position that I
Yeah.
wanted to demonstrate on the
it's
board.
an end game that every chess player should know. I think you learned this when you were a kid, but it's something that you gotta keep updating in your memory.
So here you shouldn't rush things, of course. You can play A3, but you need to bring your king closer. So let's say
And it's interesting because there's so few pieces on the board. We do have a table base, and you can see on our screen it says black is winning, and winning moves are pretty much any king move, but the drawing moves are A3, and of course the rook moves that give up the H pawn.
no, but the thing is,
And there's a one losing move. That's funny. If you play rook C7, then black loses.
yes, but Nazia, what I wanted to say that not every king moves win. So if you are rushing things and you're playing king B2, yes, so rook A4 is draw again.
Oh, right. King
Yes,
B2 is
you
not
see?
winning. Of course, you can't allow rook A4. That's a threat. So if you go closer to white's king, then it's winning.
So if you play king D4,
Let's say
then
king
rook
D4.
A4 is not winning.
Yes, because we have that extra tempo now. We're much closer to the pawn.
But then you have to triangle things, like in a way. So let's say you play king D4, rook A3, king C4.
Yeah, this is still quite tricky, and we do
Rook
have a
A1,
result in the other game. Humpy Koneru resigned, and Zhongyi is currently the sole leader of the tournament with a perfect score. Starts with 2 wins.
Yes, and I think that it is not so easy for us to bring Tan in the studio for an interview because we need a translator. Nazia, do we have a translator?
I think we do. So
Okay.
we might try to bring Tan in. We'll see. Well, we have the only one game remaining.
And
And this is a tricky endgame, actually. We know it's winning, but Alice is at the board not having the eval bar, not being 100% sure that this is winning.
Nazia, by the way, this is our second decisive game of the round, and we are looking at this third decisive game of the round. So 3 games yesterday, 3 decisive games today.
Most likely.
Most likely, yes. So, well, of course, still...
Or still anything can
yes,
happen.
anything can happen, but rook A3 was
And look
late
at that.
in our analysis
Alice,
board. But
Very accurate. King D4.
So rook A3, let's try.
And then King C5, right?
Well, okay, after rook A3, you need to bring the king closer. Let's say King C5.
Well, Divya has 2 minutes, so I'm just going to wait for her move.
But how, let's say, how doesn't change? Because we cannot take on A4 now. Yes, rook A4, the king
Exactly.
is right in time. And Divya is forced to give check.
Yeah, she's given a check. And now, which direction do we move? Do you go King E3 and King F2? Because then you're still close enough to the H pawn.
But if I go king c3 here,
Then you
well,
go back.
Yes, we're
Yes.
back
And
where we
repetition.
started. Yes.
King e3. You give me a check. I go to f2. Then you probably go back, and now I can start pushing.
Okay, but the king on f2 is close enough, so I
Apparently.
cannot play rook a3. Okay, let's check it just. Then
But barely, right?
king
I'm gonna go
g3, I
here.
think h6, but
King
now
G4,
king
and yes,
g4,
king
and then
G5,
you're
okay, 7,
checking
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So the king on f2 is much better than the king on c4.
Yeah?
No,
King
on b2.
c3.
No, on b2 and c3. Yes, b2
Yep.
and c3. Yes. Wow.
Yeah, it does make sense, but you still have to calculate this because you can't be sure this is a race. You might think logically it makes sense, but as soon as you're down to opponent game, you have to calculate move by move, and Alice has done just that. She just played king e3. And now Divya only has 2 minutes left. She can keep giving checks or go back to a1. And we know how this is going to end. I'm just going to show this line one more time. After a3, rook can go to a2. King moves to, no, maybe d3, and we're still going to be in time, but it's tight, it's close, and it's lucky for Alice that she still has a lot of time on the clock, that she can still calculate all of this. Otherwise, if the roles were reversed and Alice had 1 minute, I think still anything could happen. But given the current situation, I believe Alice is in total control. Now I'm gonna pause my analysis because I do have a very special guest with me, former world champion Zhongyi after her win, and currently leading the tournament with a 2-0. Congratulations, first of all, and welcome to the studio.
恭喜2连胜，然后这个欢迎来到我们这新的这个直播间。
So tell us, how does it feel to be back in St. Louis, and did you expect to have such a fantastic start?
第3年回圣路易斯的感觉怎样？然后对这个目前这个2连胜的这个二连胜有什么想法？
肯定还是比较高兴的，也比较意外。其实没有想到会有这么好的一个开局，因为我已经说老实话，长达大概接近2年的比赛都不是很顺利了。
She's always happy to be back, and it's a surprise that double white to start off the tournament pays off so well, because especially considering that the past 2 years have not exactly been too smooth years for me.
Understood. And I want to talk a little bit about yesterday's game, because it looked like Carissa was doing fine, but then she had this big blunder. So
Yes.
how does she feel about that?
他想稍微问一下昨天的对局，就觉得说 Carissa 一直在稳住局面，然后就最后突然间来了一次大翻船，就是对这个有什么看法？
事实上我确实没有看见后 F7还可以防守，我以为那个时候已经赢了，因为我算的是后E5然后后E6的那个变化。我觉得临场是有很大的压力的。当然后来我用电脑分析的时候，我确实高估了自己的局面，我以为至少很接近赢棋，但事实上电脑说我最好的时候可能也只是有一些优势而已，这确实很出乎我的意料。但是确实可能时间上面没有领先，也代表着我确实没有想到很好的就是方法，侧面证明可能只是我有些乐观，但是我认为他可能他犯的那个错误没有大家想象中那么的巨大。
It was a big miss to not realize that Queen F7 was in fact gluing everything together. I looked at something involving Queen E5, Queen E6, and it was possible that I had overestimated my position. I checked with computer later in the evening, and I saw that I had some advantage, but no game deciding on the spot, and perhaps also time played into a factor that I was never really in the lead on the clock.
But yeah, it was definitely a very tricky position and misleading. It's easy to understand why she thought she was winning. And I just have one question about today's game. In this moment where she had a choice, where she could have gone queen versus 2 bishops, or she could have played queen c1 here and been exchange up. Was she ever worried that maybe black would have some kind of a fortress with 2 bishops against the queen?
就是说你在这个关键点，你在选 Gc8或者后 C1 的时候，你有没有考虑到说有可能这个黑棋会靠双向这个负隅顽抗？
说老实话，就是确实是忘记了，但是他走的时候，我大概也知道这个棋他是守不住的，就是这样的一个状态，所以说也没有很担心，但是确实。可能应该走后 C1 会更简单。
It was natural to overlook that perhaps the bishop pair has that fortress constructing potential, but I'm not too concerned because at the end of the day both looked promising, and in hindsight maybe queen c1 was a touch more straightforward.
Mm-hmm. All right, and going forward, what's your strategy? What have you been doing that you think is working so well? And what is your preparation like for the upcoming games?
那接下来几盘棋，你会有什么自己的一些小的习惯，或者说有什么小的策略，能够保证接下来这个比赛一直的顺利的继续？
我觉得没有什么就是可以保证的，他每一个人都非常的强，然后你前面赢不代表后面就怎么样，因为我记得去年 Carissa 是在后半段才发力，然后就是连赢4盘好像夺冠的，所以说这不能说明什么，但是总归来说是一个很好的开局。
I appreciate the 2 out of 2 start, but I also believe that each game is independent and is not correlating to another. I remember that last year Carissa had an abrupt 4-round rampage in the second half of the tournament, which led her to the second title. So I just try to take one game at a time and hopefully for the best.
That sounds like a great strategy. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for translating, and best of luck.
好，谢谢，加油。
It looks like Alice Lee is about to win her game. She did find the way to put the king on f2, and then just started pushing the pawn. Rook a6, and yeah, I think Divya just resigned here because she knows the king is too close to the pawn and this is unstoppable. But you know what? I still wouldn't have resigned here a little bit.
Yes, but it feels that Alice studied Averbach rook endings. It's almost a chess Bible. Yes, you need to know so many positions. But I am pleasantly surprised by her technique, and she seized every chance which presented itself at the board. So 2 out of 2 is a perfect start, of course, but what I would like to emphasize is that Alice shows such maturity in her play.
At her age, right? 16.
Yes.
Yeah, she's very stable player. And today, there are so many moments where first we thought that rook endgame was a draw, so she could have just assumed, okay, I'm not winning this, and made a draw. No, she played so precisely, made the task for Divya very difficult. And then when it got this tricky, she took her time and found the absolute best moves.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. She remains very calm, almost as if it was just a game, yes? Mm-hmm. But we all know that a chess is life.
Exactly, and her approach seems to be working very well. We're going to interview her shortly, and I'm going to ask her all the questions. But what a fantastic start for the youngest player in the tournament. I'm going to back up to the start of the game to have it ready for her to give us her insights. And I think we're ready. We have in the studio one of the leaders of the tournament, Alice Lee. Welcome, Alice.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here.
First of all, tell me how you feel starting with 2 out of 2.
Yeah, of course it feels really great to start with 2 wins. I think this game was kind of shaky. I'm not too happy with my play quality, but I'm glad that I was able to like squeeze a win out of this.
Okay, and tell us, have you played Divya before, first of all?
Yeah, I think I played her about 3 years ago in this tournament, the Grand Swiss tournament, and I drew as white, I think.
All right, so you knew her a little bit. Were you expecting this opening today, the Ruy Lopez?
Yeah, somewhat. I think this is one of her main openings.
And we saw that you had this kind of a sneaky variation prepared with bishop c5 and then knight to d5 and bishop b7. So this was all prep.
Yeah, actually, this is all prep up to like. Then when she played a4, I checked this like right before the game.
Wow.
Because actually this d6, knight takes c4, queen d7, and then queen takes c6 is kind of strange. So I was quite fortunate to have like looked at that.
That's definitely a lucky preparation right before the game, because coming up with queen d7, queen d6 at the board is not easy.
I don't think bishop d7 was good, but yeah, queen d7.
You're absolutely right. Yes, if bishop d7, then after e takes d6, white does have some advantage. So that was great prep. And then what was the key moment in the game where you thought, okay, a lot happened in this game. It was like a roller coaster.
Yeah. I think my calculation here was not so great. So after knight c4, queen a6, I just missed queen b8. I think here I should have done like queen b6 probably. And then there would have been maybe some line with like a5, queen b4, or I guess, queen a6 then. But my calculation wasn't so great here because I just completely missed what she played.
I mean, this position is absolutely crazy. It's so hard to calculate. Were you considering queen g6?
Yeah, I thought queen g6, knight takes c3, knight c6, and there's this move, knight d5, and after bishop h3, knight f4. I guess, maybe the engine likes this, but I thought like the 2 rooks for the queen might
after
be
queen d6.
dangerous, But maybe I get like a knight to d4, pawn and c5.
Yeah, your knight will be good on d4, but you don't even have an extra pawn for it, so it's about equal. So you calculated all this. That's very impressive. And then after queen a6, we figured you missed queen b8 because it's such an easy move to miss. Yeah. And then how do you recover from the shock that, okay, now the queen is escaping, then maybe you're worse?
Yeah, I don't know. I just tried to calculate like a variation that's kind of forcing, so I wouldn't have to like think too much, but queen d3, I saw it like after, I guess I thought she would take on c7, but I guess the engine says she has rook e1.
Yeah, engine has its crazy moves, like rook e1 is apparently much better for white with the idea of queen b5, and I think c3 pawn is going to fall. But not easy to play at all. Of course, she played the natural move queen c7, and then you ended up in this endgame. Yeah,
I thought here after she played rook d1 was a bit strange.
Were you expecting rook e1?
Yeah, I guess rook e1 or knight takes c3 also should be kind of equal. But I thought like rook fd1 gives me like a good chance to press.
Yeah, definitely. And once we got to this endgame, did you think you had chances to win?
I mean, I thought objectively it should be a draw, but I will get a pawn, and then like I cut her king off, and I think like the formation that I got, it was kind of difficult for her to defend.
Yes, of course, it's a 2-result game and you have a chance. And then the critical moment was on move 40, right? When she's super low on time and the choices between rook e6 and rook a1.
Yeah, I honestly did not calculate for her. I was like, she has to find the defense. I guess rook e6 makes sense to like keep the king cut off. But yeah, like after rook a1, like I was just able to get this rook d5 and a5, and then my king comes in. Although I think she was quite resourceful, because like later I had to find, I think, bringing the king to f2.
That was brilliantly done, by the way, because yes, if you go this way, then your king will be too far, and she can sacrifice the pawn, the rook for the pawn. So that was absolutely perfectly done. Great technique. So both games you win in the rook endgames.
Yeah, it was rook endgames where it was quite difficult for my opponent.
Have you been working a lot on the endgames?
No, not really, but I was like, okay, for this one, I think it's just very difficult for her because she's down a pawn, and the other one, yesterday, I had like 2 passed pawns that were, like, she has to find some oni moves, so I am quite fortunate to be on the better side of those endgames.
Definitely well done in both games. Now going forward, what's your strategy?
I'm not sure. I'll have to think about it, because actually last year I also started 2 out of 2, but I think it was like similar situation. I need +1 for norm, but I was not able to get that in the last few rounds. So I'll have to like maybe talk to my coach and see what I'm going to do in the next few games.
Sounds good. Well, I will let you go and rest and prepare for tomorrow. Thank you for joining us, and good luck in the rest of the tournament. It's a great interview with Alice Lee, but now let's look at the standings after 2 rounds at the Cairns Cup.
2 players are leading the event with a perfect score. Zhongyi and Alice Lee have 2 out of 2, followed by Bibisara, Assaubayeva, Muzychuk, Divya, Deshmukh, Carissa, and Stavroula, Tsolakidou. They are only on 50% with a 1 out of 2.
Absolutely. So many players tied for 3rd place. Now, Almira, let's take a look at the pairings upcoming for round 3.
Of course, the round 3 is waiting for us. Muzychuk is taking on Zhongyi with the white pieces. Then Alice Lee with 2 out of 2 is playing against Bibisara Assaubayeva. A lot of interesting games. Tomorrow, Vaishali Rameshbabu is facing Stavroula, Tsolakidou. Humpy Koneru is playing against Carissa, and Alexandra Kosteniuk will play with the white pieces against Divya, Deshmukh.
Oh, I can't wait to see how these games go tomorrow. But first, let's take a look at the predictions we made before the event. Can I brag?
You must.
I must, because my pick, Alice Lee, she's an underdog in this tournament, the youngest and the lowest rated player, but she started the event with 2-0, perfect score. Couldn't have been any better.
Yes, those are fighters. And of course, I was thinking about one of my favorite movies, I think Flying Dragon, Reaping Tiger, and you have those moves. And I think Alice Lee and Zhongyi are those flying dragons and tigers.
Yeah, they're fighting hard and they have the perfect score. We'll see if they can keep it up. Well, this was a great day again at the Cairns Cup. Thank you so much for watching, and join us again tomorrow for round 3 at the same time. We will see you then.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Any reproduction or distribution of this content without the express written consent of the St. Louis Chess Club is prohibited.